Been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Return of the boxing guru. I'm coming with so much flavor. I'm also known as the Wilder hater. But my videos here to please you. It's under the microscope here to teach you. You with the one and only boxing guru. For this episode, guess who's back? We're going to focus in on the return of Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. There's rumors saying that he's going to fight in October. This is a good thing for boxing. I'm glad Deontay health is good enough for him to resume his career. I'm glad he has the drive and the dedication to push forward on his career because it definitely has a lot left in the final chapter of his career, in my opinion. It's a lot of money on the table that D should get. He should start off with like a tournament, in my opinion. You know, it should start rumors saying he's supposed to fight Robert Helenius. That would be a good start for him, a comeback to wet his feet. You know, get the fans back excited, get him a knockout. Because Robert Helenius, he fought Adam Babyface Kanowski, beat him twice by knockout. Plus, he was Deontay Wilder's chief sparring partner against Tyson Fury in the trilogy. So this is a good comeback, tune-up fight for Deontay Wilder. Plus, it's a good hookup for Robert Helenius. Since he was his chief sparring partner, this will be his way of getting him a good payday and fighting the former champion and, you know, close to retirement for him because I think he's about 37, 36, 37, 38 years old. So this is a good payday for him, in my opinion. Plus, it will help D sharpen up his skills so when he fight the winner of Usyk and AJ, they are tall fighters, so D will be sharp. His tools will be ready. In my opinion, I think AJ is going to beat Usyk. I definitely believe that. I believe AJ is the better fighter between the two. I believe AJ didn't use the logic of boxing. A good big man beats a good little man in the last fight. Plus, with AJ, his fights seem like they lose and then he come back and win. He fight like he's supposed to do, like he did against Andy Ruiz. So I'm looking for him to do that against Usyk. I'm looking for AJ to knock Usyk out maybe in round number 7 and 9, between 7 and 9. Yeah, because I don't think Usyk gonna be able to keep AJ off on him because I like who he picked as a trainer, Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia was a good, excellent fighter in his heyday, and I believe he will be able to transcend AJ back to glory, in my opinion, keep him behind a long jab and range and show him how to fight big. Because with you being a Latino fighter like Robert Garcia was, he had to understand the arts of boxing. He had to understand, you know, being a shorter fighter, how to fight with distance or inside. So I think he's going to teach AJ that. That's all AJ needed was somebody to sharpen him up. I believe him and Deontay Wilder was destined to fight each other. Even if Tyson Fury tried to step in, you know, out of his so-called retirement, I believe AJ will beat Tyson Fury, in my opinion. I just believe Tyson Fury will not be able to physically manhandle AJ because of the weight disparity that he had over Deontay Wilder. So Fury had to fight a different fight, and I think it plays into AJ hands. So even if he did try to stop after AJ get a knockout against Usyk, I believe AJ will defeat Tyson Fury with all his problems that they have him on social media as far as him drinking and different things of that nature. He didn't look the same in his last fight against I can't think of the guy's name. Yeah, he looked at he didn't, even though he won by knockout, he still didn't look like Tyson Fury. Plus, I believe Tyson Fury is psychologically and mentally ready to retire. He just want to probably get this last payday, in his opinion. But I think he's not going to go undefeated, in my opinion, especially if he fight AJ. I had predicted this a long time ago that AJ will beat Tyson Fury. So I'm looking forward to that fight because I believe Tyson Fury gonna try to intervene. But as far as Deontay Wilder, he should just have that tournament, like I said in my first videos about him being the trophy, because he has definitely marquee and notable fighters on his side, on the PBC side, as far as going through Robert Nightmare Helenius in October, and then he can set up another fight based on what Fury and AJ going to do, because after AJ win, if Fury doesn't come back, then Wilder can take that fight. But I believe Fury gonna come back and try to think he can whoop AJ, and that's where it gives Deontay Wilder another chance to fight another PBC foe. By then, Andy Ruiz should be ready after he defeats King Kong. Andy Ruiz will defeat King Kong, because King Kong, Wilder has definitely took a lot out of him at this stage of his career. Plus, Andy Ruiz's hand speed is going to definitely offset King Kong, boxing. So I'm looking for Andy Ruiz to win that fight. And then because Charles Martin exposed King Kong. So at this point, I just believe Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder is the big fight on the PBC side until the dust, or the second bout as a fill-in case AJ and Fury has to fight. So I think Andy Ruiz will keep Deontay Wilder busy, and that's still good paydays for Wilder. I believe Wilder could get 2 knockouts in both of those fights against Robert Helenius and Andy Ruiz, because Andy is just too short to come straight in and walk Deontay Wilder down without eating all those big right hands. If Deontay Wilder uses angles and just keep distance and just shoot straight punches down the pipe. So I think it would be too much for Andy Ruiz, but that would just be the mouth-watering appetizer for Deontay Wilder until the big fight comes, him and AJ, for all the belts, in my opinion, because AJ will have them, and that will be a massive fight. And then that's the fight, it was supposed to be made a long time ago, before even Fury. I think AJ was the man. So Deontay Wilder definitely has a lot on his plate, and a lot of stuff to keep him busy as far as fighters and make good money. So he definitely should have it under Browns Bombers promotion, and he should set up, the 2 or 3 fights before he gets to AJ. Depends on what they doing on the other side. But I believe Deontay Wilder will be all right in his return and in his future fights against the opponents I just named, because I like the work him and his new corner trainer was doing, his buddy Malik Scott. I'm glad they get more time to work on and correct things in Deontay Wilder's fighting style. So in my opinion, if they just go to the tall person's chest and keep him at bay and keep him off Deontay Wilder, Wilder will have a chance to land big right hands and get him out of there. Because if he just try to land one big right hand, he can miss, and then the person can get in on the inside of him. So if Wilder throws the right hand to the chest and the arms and shoulder area, he will be effective, and he will be able to keep his opponents off of him. And those are the keys for Deontay Wilder moving forward in his career. I think Malik Scott going to utilize that effectively, because he did that in the trilogy against Tyson Fury. I like when they came out in the first couple rounds with Deontay Wilder, like I was saying, to go to the chest of Fury with his right hand with heavy shots. He was doing that effectively. It was keeping Fury at bay, and it kept Fury in range to land a right hand to the head. So that's very critical in Deontay Wilder's success and how far he will go in the final chapters of his career. I'm definitely excited for Deontay Wilder to be back. I definitely will be in attendance. I'm always rooting for Deontay Wilder to utilize his gift, all his gift, so he definitely can reign and dominate the heavyweight division as it was predicted and seen. These are the words for the one and only boxing guru. Guess who's back? Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
Subscribe to me if you want more of the Boxing Guru Show.